Hello, and welcome to our series on digital publication workflows. In this talk, we will look over research workspace architecture, or essentially how to start organizing the different components, the different projects, and your directory structure so that you can most effectively make use of the research publication workflows that we are discussing. This is not intended to constrain or to prescribe any one kind of organizational structure, but simply to give you some ideas so that you can restructure how you work and have that work with the tools that we are discussing. Why does structure matter? Well, research is not a file, it is a system of files. Almost none of us have all of our sources, our figures, our notes, our manuscripts, our thoughts all in one actual file. We have them in multiple areas, perhaps scattered across our computer, perhaps all dumped on the desktop, as many of us may be guilty of. You rarely have all of your notes, publications, data, visualizations, and other information really even in the same directory. We all have our own idiosyncratic ways of organizing our research, but what we're going to talk about here is some best practices or some things that we have discovered that are useful when organizing and conducting digital research. The first question, though, is why do we even use VS Code for what we're doing? We're using VS Code because it supports a variety of things, including project-wide navigation, so that you can actually see where all of your different components are in one interface. Integrated search, so say for instance, you can find something in your stack of notes and documents and papers simply by typing in search and restricting it to what you're looking at. We can edit multiple files in the same place. And there's lots of features and plugins, there's version control, there's tracking that really make life a lot easier when you're doing this kind of work. What you'll see here is a directory structure that represents a typical project layout. You'll see a root directory. This is the project name. You can name it whatever you want. Within that directory is a readme.txt file. This is something that a lot of us don't generate, but it's something that's extremely useful. This contains important notes about the project in general. This is things that you may have to be aware of or steps that you've taken to get to where you are. Think of this as a love letter to your future self. So 6 months from now, a year from now, however long, you can sit down and get up to speed with what you've actually done for your project. Under this, you'll also see a manuscript directory. That's generally where your actual finished writing will sit. Notes are pretty self-explanatory. These are the notes that you take. As we'll see later in this video series, there's a way of structuring notes and using your common identifiers to identify them so that you can actually see what you're producing very quickly. The notes directory generally holds a single file for each of your notes on a source, and these are named after citation keys. The data directory should be split, as you see here. One directory, raw data, that's what you download, that's what you can go back to, and working data, which is when you take that data and actually analyze it or do something with it. So that way, if you do something, you break your data, you mess it up, you can always pull something back from your raw data, paste it in a working directory, and pick up where you left off. The bibliography directory will house our bibliography file from Zotero, and we'll discuss how that works in another session. Finally, you see figures here underneath project name, and that's just where you put images, where you put different visualizations and other outputs. Now you'll notice another directory here called sources. Now, for me, I prefer to keep all of my PDFs, articles, books, and other kinds of files in one source directory that I have backed up. And this way, I don't reproduce the same article over and over again. I don't download the same book. I don't pull the same thing and have multiple copies of it on my hard drive. So this is where really the naming conventions that we'll discuss later in the series, the citation keys really come to play, where you can name your files after your citation keys, put them in sources. These are accessible for any kind of project, and they're just sitting there ready to be used. Now, what we can do is we will first create this. So in your actual directory within, say, your Finder or within your folder structure, go ahead and create this kind of structure. Create a root directory with your project, adding these kinds of different folders, and then simply go to File, Open in Visual Studio, and open that folder, and you'll see the directory structure reflected here in Visual Studio. Now, one of the things we want to do here is save this as a workspace. So if you go to File, Save Workspace, it'll actually save this configuration of Visual Studio Code. So you'll have your project folder plus any other folders that you want to add. So let's say you have this as your project folder, but you want to add your sources folder to read it. So if you go to File, Add Folder to Workspace, navigate to wherever your sources are, you can then add that. So you'll see Add File, click on Add, and you will see that added to your Visual Studio Workspace. Finally, the key ideas here is that we are not making an administrative structure. We are not really trying to constrain our work, but we're creating a responsive thinking environment, something that really allows you to use these tools to their best potential. So again, these are suggestions. This is a organizational structure that we found that works, and is something that we will be building on for the rest of the series. Thank you, and we hope to see you again.